what are some words that come to your mind when you just sort of soak in the atmosphere here?
Chaos.
Chaos, sensory overload, yes. So yeah, this is a place which is full of life. And I told you I lived in Singapore for 8 years, so that was the extreme opposite of this. Very organized, very sort of orderly compared to this, which I believe now is more organized. When I was growing up, this was a road and they've closed off motor traffic, as you can see, but when I was growing up, this road was open for traffic. So you would see a lot of cars inside here, people honking, people on both sides of the road, marketing, shopping, doing their business. So this for me is actually less chaotic compared to when I was growing up. Also, this market, as you see, you can buy anything under the sun here. So there's a lot of clothes, a lot of decorative items, and a lot of bridal shopping. So as you know, the big fat Indian wedding, a lot of brides here come to do their shopping. I got married a couple of years ago, and I remember coming with my family and my bride-to-be to do some shopping here as well. So basically what happens in a bazaar like this in India, it caters to every economic segment, right? Right from getting it for a few $10, $15, $20 to thousands of dollars. So there are marketplaces here and there are shops here which can cater to almost everyone. And sometimes there are celebrities who come here and do the shopping. So you can't judge the book just by its cover. There are a lot of shops inside which are very premium and very expensive. Also, you see a lot of people who come here, both the merchants who are selling as well as the people who come to shop. They're not just from Delhi. A lot of people come from across India, and especially the merchants and people who are pulling the rickshaws and engaging in manual labor. They're coming from the hinterland of the country to find economic opportunities, because Delhi is a big economic hub in North India. So a lot of people come here in search of economic opportunity, and especially unskilled labor, if they only have manual labor to provide. This is a very big market which can absorb a lot of that manual labor, because millions of people come here, shop, ply goods, carry goods, so you can easily find employment here.
What percentage of people would you say are sort of migrants?
On the street right now, if I were to take a guesstimate, I would say more than 50%. Also, incidentally, this happens to be my bus stop when I was growing up, right here. So my father, come, I'll show you. So my father would drive me on a scooter like this in the mornings. And since I was 6 years old till about, I was 14 when I left for Singapore, I would come here almost every school day morning. My bus would pick me up here. We would be playing cricket in these narrow sort of lanes with my friends. I used to drink a lot of tea here. There's a sweet shop right next. On the way back when the bus dropped me, and we would grab some sweets and snacks. कितना हो गया भैया? 50 रुपये हुआ ना? 2 चाय. नाम क्या है भैया आपका? राजीव. बहुत बढ़िया चाय बनाई है आपने. Okay, so it's a bit of a challenge crossing the road. Let these all pass. Let these all pass. It's a very busy shop. Let's find some time here. So as I was saying, this is crispy potato fried tikki, Tikki. This is tamarind chutney, the red one, and this is coriander. So it's sweet and tangy, and it's filled with lentils inside. One of my favorite street foods.
So when you were growing up, did you just stop by a bunch of these places and eat food from there? Or?
All the time. This was also one of the few places where I ate.
This place specifically?
Yeah. So all of these again from word of mouth. Nataraj, this is his name, and where we had the tea, where we'll have naan and lassi. All of these places are places I ate as a kid also, and my father would pack food from them sometimes, bring home. The thing with street food in Old Delhi is that many of these names or like brand names are like very old. This is like from since 1940, so almost 70, 75 years old, 80 years old, and run by generations. So like the person who's selling it there, like his father, my father would know. So last 30 years, India has seen very dramatic economic growth. A lot of people, millions, hundreds and millions of people brought out of poverty. And I think now with the G20 summit and with the Modi sort of euphoria in some sense, and some people call it a euphoria, some people call it a cult. But yeah, it's definitely made its way onto the global stage, and hopefully next 10, 15, 20 years we continue pulling people out of poverty and becomes at least a nation with no person dying of hunger or dying of disease or whatever it is out of lack of good treatment. So that's the goal. Let's see where it goes. I mean, in my 30 years, I've seen it grow tremendously. When I was 14, let's say, and when I went to Singapore, none of my friends wanted to come back to India. I was one of the few, and I can share perhaps why I came back. Many of them stayed back. But I had this affinity growing up in this part of Delhi, especially with this sort of, I don't know, it's the indescribable quality of life. As you say, you said essence. I don't know what the essence is. You have to be here and perhaps spend an evening in Old Delhi to know the essence of Old Delhi. But that's what pulled me back. I think is the language, is the food. I stayed in Singapore 8 years. I missed speaking Hindi, right? And I was in the US for a year. That was an even bigger culture shock because I felt very isolated for the first 6 months. Everything was sprawling. Everything was so distant. You have to drive everywhere. It just felt a different planet altogether. And I also found it difficult to strike up conversations, make friendships. So I said, I mean, these are great places for education, but I can't live here. I have to go back, find some peace in my roots here. So that's another question. Growing up in different cultures, like where do you belong? What's your sense of identity? What's your belonging? I always found it here in India. So we get naan. Usually it's quite a bit, so I ask them to pack it. We can have a bite along with the lassi, and then you can take it back. This is, according to me, one of the best lassis in Delhi. I'm not overselling it. I'm a big fan of lassi, and I'm always looking out for good places. I love the way they put it in this clay pot, and they ferment their yogurt in this. And they
fermented in it?
Yeah, overnight, in that pot. So you put milk, basically, with a little bit of the ferment, and by the morning, it's yogurt. Oh yeah, it's hard. I mean, the air quality is one part which I just find is very detrimental to the quality of life. I won't say I'm used to it. This particular area, there's more dust because of so many people. In places or neighborhoods where there's more greenery, it's not as bad. But in the winter months, Delhi is particularly infamous for its smog or its air pollution. So yeah, there's no way to get used to it, and there's a lot of studies which show that for Delhiites, their life expectancies have reduced by 10, 15 years because of the poor air quality. These are all like questions which come to you, right? I mean, you want to stay at home and you want to stay like closer to your culture, your language and all of that. You long for that. Of course, you can choose to live outside the city, right? We can choose to go to the mountains where the air quality is significantly better and perhaps closer to like a European city. But of course, then you don't have the infrastructure to learn theatre or to do this, like meet people from all over the world. Yeah, it's always a tension, right? City life versus back in the mountains or by the beach.
The mural name is Impression of Lodi, and so we are in this Lodi colony, and this mural was painted by a Singaporean artist. So what you see in this mural, so that's his impression of Lodi. You know, these are the real people, and it's not his imagination. So these are real people. This lady is also running a sweet shop here in this area. So, and what you see in this mural, you know, this scene has been disappearing from many neighborhoods in New Delhi. So this is not something you will see quite common. But this area is quite different from the other area of Delhi. You know, on media you will only see the crowded one, crowded areas in Delhi. It's not like this. There are so many areas which are like this, very calm and quiet. It's not like it's morning, that's why it's quiet. If you come around, in the afternoon, it will be quiet like this. there is an organization called Start Art India. So they promote street art throughout India. So in 2015, they came up to this area with a 3-wall experiment. And when they were painting those, walls, very soon they realized that, this area has everything to be the first Indian street art district. First, it has wide roads. Second, it's pedestrian friendly. It has sidewalks. And the best part is, each and every artist will get the same canvas. That is a rectangle canvas for everyone. So what they did in 2016, they invited 20 artists from all over the world, and they added 20 murals here. And this is one of my favorite mural. And why it's my favorite mural? Because I just love elephants. It's, I like dogs, I like cats, but elephant is something I really, one day definitely, when I have a big farm, I will definitely, pet some elephants for sure. And it's allowed.
Is your goal to have a farm?
Yes, a big one where I can have 3-4 of these. That will be nice. I'm not sure if you have noticed, in other countries, street art is more of a political thing. Here, street art is just an art. It just, and it's, um, I tell more about, yes, I tell more about Indian culture through this art. So if you have noticed, I was telling you about the elephants, about the goddess and everything. This is more of an Indian culture through this art. You will learn more about it, but you will not see any political angle. And this is not this is not like a graffiti. It's more like it's a mural, but it's all legal. It's not like they came and they just painted as it is. Like they have taken the pure means permission, and that's how they painted. Here you will see more of a local life that you see in any other country. When you go to a park, you will see, yes, people are doing their morning exercise. Like you will see people are jogging and everything. That's a yoga ground. Every day people are come here, get in the morning to do the yoga. Also, this park is also famous for wedding shoots. Do you know in India people spend a lot of money on weddings?
Oh, Indian. There is nothing. There is nothing that matches an Indian wedding
Ex-
in my.
Exactly, because it's a week long, and people literally spend their savings, lifelong saving on weddings. So this is Bada Gumbad Mosque, which means big dome mosque. But yeah, you can take photos and everything.
I'm more interested in what are these guys doing?
Right now they are talking with the guards and everything. You can go and take photos. It's fine, because now the guard, they will come and they will ask for the money.
Oh, really?
Yes, they will say gimbals are not allowed and everything, blah blah stuff. In the end, they want a money
Yeah.
actually.
How much do you? What is sufficient for them?
It depends. You have to read the person or
So
something.
like for these guys.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe they might take 300 or 500 Indian rupees or something, or maybe more depending how many people are there.
And what are you paying for exactly? You're paying for that nobody disturbs you, or that nobody will mess with you, or.
It's more like, because like in certain places in Delhi, the gimbals are not allowed, or I think that's the reason he is asking them to do not use the gimbal or something like that. But I have seen people are using it, but then they bribe them or something like that. But it depends. I'm not sure about the rules as well. Some say they have prohibited the use of gimbal. In some sites, yes, I know that. For example, Taj Mahal, you cannot take.
Yes.
Himayus Tam, you
I
cannot
couldn't
take.
even bring my recorder.
Yes, nothing. From here, I don't think why they did this, because it's the open park. It should be open for everyone, and if somebody is recording, looks like the person is gonna take out money. I'd also give you a nice shot. Namaste.